It's time to do a price video about Mover, Kusama, and RMRK. So let's see what's been going on. I know that the market's been doing really bad these last week or so. With this dump, it's just absolutely crazy, right? It just doesn't seem like we're gonna come back, but I know that we will eventually come back, right? We need to have faith in it, right? Bad things could happen, of course, but I mean, looking at this chart, you think that it's very hard to see a comeback. But then again, look at this, right? When we dumped all the way down here from the high of $500 on Mover, you could see that we did recover, right? And nobody probably expected this to happen either, right? The formation was a really clear downtrend here, and then we had that massive pop, and the cycle has changed. So the cycle can change once again and surprise everyone, and then we could see levels of over $400 once again. But again, it does depend on how the market does, and we all know that Bitcoin is the king, and Bitcoin ultimately drives the price of the altcoins as well, unless Bitcoin can find some way to stabilize. And then if it does trade sideways for maybe, don't know, 3 weeks, 4 weeks or more, perhaps then the altcoins could pick up as the sentiment grows. But for now, of course, there's fear in the market. I'm also seeing the views on some of my videos going down quite a lot, even the Polkadot videos, which you normally love those videos, right? And even so, the views have gone down a lot, right? Almost halved. And this is what happened in the summer as well when the market crashed. Many people just stopped watching videos about Polkadot, about crypto in general. So yeah, I think the sentiment is low at the moment. Some people have sold, some people are holding tight, right? It depends on the person at the end of the day. But anyway, just to continue on here, so we're now at an important level of support. As you can see here, this area here, which I did fear we're going to hit eventually, and we did. As you can see, we are holding quite okay around this area here, just between 180 and 190. Now, if we are to dump lower though, the problem is that the next area of support, if we zoom in here, is around $100. Okay, so this is exactly what I'm fearing here, that if Bitcoin does take a plunge below 45,000 and it does go back to that level of 30K, we could potentially see Mover go all the way down to $100. And I would hate if that happens. I'm sure you would too, right? But it is a possibility, right? We cannot discard it. If we don't dump that low, if Bitcoin doesn't dump that low, I should say, then we are going to go back up again. But as you can see, we do have a bit of a problem now, right? So even if we're going to get a push to the upside, the issue here is that we've got resistance around this area, around 230 here, right? So as you can see, we did try, after we had that initial dump, we did try to break that area of resistance and we just couldn't. So we dumped back down, and this is what I fear now. Unless we're accumulating here for a while and then we're going to get some strength to break this area of resistance here at 230, then it is going to be a struggle. Once we break that area, we're going to have more resistance here around the 290 area, which is still okay, right? 290 is quite a large price. I'd be happy with that price, right? Personally, I feel more comfortable at least, right? But with 230 here, I'm not going to feel confident until we see this break, right? But anyway, we'll see how things go. This video is sponsored by Stablepool, a universal liquidity provider for decentralized exchanges. It's currently got just over 89 million in total value locked, and what it does is it aggregates the liquidity from all the decentralized exchanges available in their partners list, which we'll take a look at a bit later. They have a feature which allows you to stake various cryptocurrencies on the Ethereum blockchain from a minimum of $100, as we can see in this image. Top ones being stablecoins, as they provide a protection against volatility and give you a lot better returns than if you're just holding your money in a bank savings account. I think a lot of people still don't realize that maybe they just don't understand nor feel technically comfortable to make the jump. This is why I think once there will be some brokers out there who will manage this for their customers, there will be more onboarding for stablecoin staking and also top cryptocurrency staking, which are safer for the long term and less volatile. They're also offering liquidity mining. Different pools of tokens are locked in smart contracts, and you can choose from a wide range of pools that you could wish to add liquidity to and get a percentage of the pool rewards. Now, to get to the partners, Pantera, Fenboshi Capital, and Arrington Capital have invested in Stablepool. You can also see a list of the DEXs that they support with the pools that are available on their website. The company is based in Tokyo, Japan, and you can get in touch with them if you would like some assurance. Also, if you want to check out their white paper, they've got two versions available, the English and Japanese one. If you want to check out Stablepool, the link can be found in the description of this video. Thank you for watching. Next up, let's look at Kusama here. So Kusama is doing quite okay compared to Mover. I know that Mover and Kusama have been racing each other a couple of times, where Mover has been priced higher than Kusama, and that's when I actually sold a lot of my Mover to get into Kusama. Thankfully, I did that because then I contributed to BitCountry Pioneer. I always wanted to contribute to that metaverse crowd loan, and I did back when it was running. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting the rewards as well, and I'm really happy for the decision I've taken to sell some of my Mover. I know that a lot of people are saying they wouldn't sell their Mover because the staking rewards are great, but at the end of the day, if you've contributed to the Moonriver crowd loan, you're still going to be getting a lot of Mover, right, until May. So even if you part with some of your Mover, if you're reinvesting in something else, then it could be a good idea, right? Because you can maximize those gains at the end of the day, right? You're buying KSM, you're locking it up to get other tokens, and then you're also getting that KSM back. So what would you do if you just had Mover and then you'd be at this price, right? You'd actually be in a loss in a way if you think about it, whereas now you're maximizing your gains. You've swapped Mover for KSM when Mover was actually priced higher than KSM. You got more units of KSM than you had units of Mover, and then you've invested that, well, I shouldn't say invested, you've locked it up to get other tokens. And who knows how BitCountry Pioneer is going to do, right? It is a metaverse platform after all. It looks super cool. I've had Ray Lu on my channel if you haven't already watched that interview. So this is why I'm saying here with Kusama. And I know I kind of went off the grid here. I should have probably focused on the price, but I just wanted to basically bring this up to you, right? You can see that because Kusama is an ICO coin, and by ICO I mean initial crowd loan offering, right? Then that's why it does well. Even with the dump, it's still holding quite okay, right? And we did get lucky though, because it went to $500 when the market crashed. Had we been around this area when the market crashed, it would probably be in a similar position to Mover right now. But thankfully, because of that uptrend momentum happening while the market crashed, then we didn't go that low, thankfully, right? So yeah, and then of course a lot of people bought off the market, etc., right? But as long as these crowd loans are running, and we still have many more weeks of crowd loans before 100 of them are going to connect, then we don't have to worry, right, about that, as long as we don't dump into a bear market and the bear market lasts a long time, right? Unless that happens. Anyway, to continue on here, so we're holding around this area here. You could see this area here, which we're at the moment, is acting as support. Look all the way back here when at the beginning of 2021. This was at the end of February here, when we had this last area before we pushed to the upside. Because remember, in December last year, it was also dumping, right? Like the whole market was doing pretty nasty, but Kusama was actually picking up quite okay, right? It started picking up in December. Let me go back here, sorry. Let me go back here a bit. There. This was Kusama in December. This was Kusama in December. So you could see it was around this area here, which was around $58. So it didn't do too well, right? It did dump, but then it started picking up slowly. And then by January, we started to move into the uptrend. By February, we went even higher, right? By the end of February, then we had this massive pump here. And then we continued throughout March. And then in March, we had that high of $550, which was quite a lot. And then in May, we had this massive all-time high pump here. Of course, we did have a pullback, and then we had the massive all-time high pump, which basically gave us a 2x here, right? From here, from $300 in April, we got a 2x in May. And then we had a massive dump once again, massive sell-off here, thanks to Bitcoin. So next, which level of support could we possibly see? Well, we could see this area here of $230 could hold us support here. Should we go lower? It all depends on what Bitcoin does, but it is a good area. It's a solid area. I'm pretty confident about this. I don't expect us to break below this area if we do touch it, right? I think we're gonna hold, but should we break below it, should we get that unlucky, then we may have some support around 200 here. Just around this area here. So we've got 230 here, and then we've got 200 here. So we should have some more support at 200. And then should we break below that, then we're all the way down to 115. So anything between 110 and 120 range would act as support here. So let's hope it doesn't go that low. Like I said, unless Bitcoin dumps all the way back to $30,000, where that's like the area of support, should we break below the current one, then we should be fine, in my opinion. And should we go back up here, then I am expecting a bit of a resistance here around this area. Like, look, resistance here, resistance here, resistance here, resistance here. So anything between 360 to 380 is going to be acting as resistance. Okay, we are going to struggle to break that, but it's Kusama at the end of the day. Next, let's talk about DOT. So DOT is suffering exactly the same fate. As you can see, it formed this triangle here. It should have been a head and shoulder here. Perhaps it still is. Perhaps we're forming that head and shoulder on the 8-hour chart here. And we are going to go back and retest the $35 range once again. Because remember, the crowd loans does cause buying pressure. It does cause buying pressure, either you like it or not. Because people are buying in order to contribute to these crowd loans. So yeah, we could potentially see a retest of 35, but should we go lower, should we drop back down, then we do have this area here around 1930 acting as support here. Okay, this is the area here of 1930 acting as support. I don't think we're going to see it, but again, it is a possibility. So I just want to make it clear here that we could drop that low, and then even 17 bucks here around this area. So 17 could be the worst case scenario, 19 is a bad scenario, and then in a good scenario we could be pushing back up to the $35 range. And finally, let's look at RMRK as well. So RMRK is doing quite good if you look at it, right? RMRK was in a bullish trend, and then the market crashed, and even so it wasn't able to bring RMRK all the way down again. So you could see RMRK has been doing extremely well here. 35 bucks and 40 bucks could be acting as support now. So $40 would be support, and 35 would be the next line of support. So plenty of support here. Look, 35 is like a very, very solid support here because we did accumulate for quite some time around this area. So I'm not expecting RMRK to go anywhere below 35, even if we do get a Bitcoin crash, like a bigger crash. I think we could get a wick down below, maybe to even 25, right? But we're going to bounce back up because this is the whole purpose of support. We get the wick and then the bots just buy back up and we hold around the $35 range. That's what I'm expecting. Should we go into a bearish trend here and should we continue to the upside movement, we may encounter some resistance around these areas here of around 50 bucks. But once we break past that, then we're off to the races once again, possibly retesting 68, 69, which was the all-time high, and then going even higher from there. Because as you see, like, this chart is super bullish at the moment. Even if we're dumping here, it's still bullish, right? It's still on an uptrend. It's a higher low. If you look at it, this low here, it's actually higher than the last high that we had before the all-time high, right? This was the last high that we had before the all-time high, which was 39 bucks. So yeah, this low here is actually higher. So it's still in a bullish trend. It's still in an upward momentum. So yeah, RMRK is doing extremely well. And now with the metaverse announcement, I think it's going to do even better. I'm expecting RMRK to do really, really well early next year when Bruno is going to announce the metaverse launch for RMRK, in my opinion. And then, of course, all the Canary birds are going to have utility, and there's probably going to be more demand for the Canary birds because at the moment, other than equipping them, you're not really doing anything else with them, right? So when you're going to have utility for them, people are going to be incentivized to buy those Canary birds. And remember, there are only 10,000 of them. That's been it from today's video. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.